Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
And it feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light, when you hit that first joint, in the morning, and you.
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Is there any part of yourself that you might like to get to know or change your relationship with? Anything that's been bugging you?
I was trying to think about that because this week has actually I've experienced more joy this week than I have in a while.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice. I think the only big concern this past week has been a little worry about the relationship with my two younger sons, how much that will be impacted with the move. I worry that that bond will weaken, especially given the attitude my ex-husband is having towards the move and my relationship with the boys.
Yeah.
And that has been a long-lasting worry. I knew from the time I separated that eventually I would not live in Evansville anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I still want to have a loving relationship, at least with my two younger sons. And I worry what will actually come out at the end.
Yeah. Well, that could be a part that we could investigate, is that worried part. I don't want to go any deeper than you want to go, so I just want to, put kind of wave a flag on that might be hard, but
understandable. With the topic from last time, I'm trying to remember where we left off because it's been a while.
Yeah, you were. There was a part of you that was shutting down because of being told that. Someone at work. You made a mistake, and someone at work told you not to, don't do it that way, and then you had kind of a shutting down, and then trying to think how that turned around, or what your new relationship with that part became.
I think we arrived at that I needed to love myself and love that part of me. And that part has felt, I think I've been given that part more love, and it's felt less a need to be protected. Not 100%, but I think over the past few weeks I have felt less shut down and more open.
Nice.
Less worried about what other people are thinking, and in part being more proactive about stepping outside of my boundaries to when there are situations like that where that could be not threatening, but where I might worry about the reaction people are giving to me.
Yeah.
I'm less worried about that, standing up for myself.
Yeah.
So that that part and the other two parts that were there watching, they didn't have to step in as much.
Yeah. Feels threatening, even if it's that part is threatened, even if you can see that there's not a real threat in the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can definitely talk to those parts again to follow up.
I would say whatever feels most useful to you, or whatever is most up for you. If it's yeah, I don't want to direct the conversation. So
okay. Even though it might be hard, I would like to talk a bit about the move situation.
Yeah.
And meet those parts that are involved.
Sounds great. So you have the worry about not connecting with your kids as much. And is that the dominant feeling around it? I mean, I know you talked about the joy, but are there other parts when you think about that are coming up?
I would say the dominant feeling about specifically what the relationship will become with me and my boys is worry. It's not fear, but there's worry and concern about, will their connection still be as strong with me? Will my husband make the connection worse by interfering?
Yeah.
Or would it be just distance, and they just simply won't be as interested anymore?
Yeah.
So I would say worry is the dominant feeling in that situation.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can make that the target part to get to know. See if it has anything to share that's useful for you, or helps you relate to it. So
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, so start by just looking for where in or around your body that worry feels like it comes from or resides.
I feel like worry is kind of outside of me, like in front of me. Similar to last time, it's more of a human-shaped shadowy presence, kind of like a ghost, rather than something internal I was feeling, like with the heart part from last time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It is something. Worry is something in front of me that feels threatening, even though it actually isn't doing anything that is threatening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. What other characteristics can you detect about it?
It's curious.
Okay.
It doesn't move. I mean, like, part of the upper body seems to be moving about, but it doesn't move away from in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's not like nose. It's not nose to nose in front of me. It's about 2 to 3 feet off.
And is it facing any direction?
It's facing directly at me, even though it doesn't have a base or anything. The general silhouette is definitely facing me.
Okay. And how would you say you feel towards this worry part?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not like a hate type of I don't like it, but I don't feel comfortable that it's just staying right there.
Mm. Taking up a little too much space in your. Sounds like it's kind of in your way too. Is that fair to say?
That would be fair to say. It feels like if I wanted to move forward, I would need to walk around worry.
Yeah.
In order to keep moving forward.
Yeah. And I'm curious that you might not have an answer for this or might not respond. But if there's when you think about walking around the worry, I'm wondering if there's other parts that come up there. You know, the manager parts that, just kind of get it done parts or whatever else might come up when you think about having to go around the worry instead of working with it. So just keep an eye out for those as we're talking to this part. You have your normal reactions, and they're probably eager to get in and deal with it the normal way.
Okay.
And maybe that feeling of not being able to move forward, maybe that would be a part.
So internally, when I'm thinking about I want to go forward, but worry is in the way. I need to get around it. The feeling that comes up in me is desire, and it feels internal.
Mm-hmm. So any part the part that doesn't like the worry, the part that feels the need to go around it, see if you can ask that part for some space so that, at least in this conversation, you can have more direct access to the worry part and get to know it better.
Almost there. Okay. The feeling that I reached out to for the part was frustration, and I asked frustration to give me some space so I could go talk to worry.
Yeah. How'd it go? How did frustration react?
Frustrated, but it did move off to the side. It went off to my side and a little bit behind me, a good number of feet away.
Okay. Well, you can thank that part for giving you some space here, and that's all. I don't know. I mean, I relate to you. It's like who wouldn't have frustration when they're facing worry like that? So, makes sense to me. So if you're able to connect with worry, if you're able to look at it and you say it's close to you and it's looking at you, ask it, what does it want you to know?
It's sad.
Okay.
It's sad because it feels like, and the communication is not verbal in my head. I'm picturing that I've walked up to worry,
Mm-hmm.
and I've asked if I can hold worry's hands, and I've asked it, what do you want me to know? And it's sad because it doesn't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's paralyzed.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense. It makes sense as to why I have to move around worry instead of worry moving somewhere else.
Right. So see if you can just let it know that you see that and you understand that, and
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
just see if you can just let it know that you see the position that it's in and that you have some sympathy for it. You don't like that it's sad, and you can sympathize with that feeling of stuckness that it has, not knowing what's going to happen. Just see how it reacts to that.
not being very responsive.
Okay. But is it at least aware that you're there and wanting to communicate with it?
Yes. It's aware that I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
It's aware that I'm trying to talk with it, but it feels embarrassed, and so because it has that humanoid type silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
I see that it's trying to tuck its head down and toward the shoulder, like in a "don't look at me," ashamed feeling.
Okay. Well, we can respect that. And I don't know, you might think of ways that you can just respect its pace and its embarrassment. You can also let it know that, I'm not going to ask you or it to reveal anything, too personal or vulnerable. And you might make that same kind of agreement with it to um, just let it know that it doesn't have to share anything it doesn't want to, and that you're just trying to get to know it.
At first, I turned back towards frustration and thanked it for continuing to allow me to have the space.
Yeah.
And then I turned back towards worry. And I tried to communicate with it that it's safe when talking with me.
I might just try asking another question of it, which is, what is it afraid will happen if it doesn't do its job in this way? If it doesn't block your way? And again, you might let it know that it can tell you, you don't have to tell me,
It feels like worry is loosening up a bit. And for the first time, worry did move. Worry moved from in front of me to the side of me on my left side. As if it's accepting, and for right now, it's going to let me move forward.
Okay. And did you ask the question that I was suggesting about what it was worried about, what it was concerned would happen if it didn't get out of the way or move?
Let me try that question again. afraid that I was going to be hurt.
Yeah.
That comes through pretty intensely.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to see me hurt.
Right.
It's been around for a very long time in my life.
Yeah.
Even though this call is the first time that I'm actually interacting with it, with worry.
So that hurt. And again, I'm not going to push you to tell me what that hurt looks like, and you don't have to push worry to tell you what the hurt looks like. But the way you said that you got a strong message from it, I'm guessing that that resonates with you. That you understand that the type of hurt that it's wants to keep you from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just let it know that. And this might be a time to ask for more details. It might not be. So if it wants to, if you want to ask it to tell you more about the hurt and for you to witness more of that so that you can get a better feeling for it, that's one way to go. Or if you already feel like or if it already feels like you get it, then maybe that you don't need to go there. Yeah, just let it know that you're interested in understanding that.
I'm still trying to talk. The sense that I get is it's tired.
Yeah. You show it some appreciation. Go ahead.
I get the feeling that it's tired and it doesn't want to do. Kind of doesn't want to do this job anymore.
Yeah.
It's between having to manage the pain of being isolated when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And the things I had to go through with my ex-husband.
Yeah.
It's
had to work hard.
It's working hard.
Yeah.
It wishes that joy would come out more.
Yeah. So just show it some appreciation for all that hard work. And you said that you think that you heard it doesn't want to do that job anymore. So what role would it like to take inside of you if it didn't have to do that anymore?
didn't have to worry and block the way so much anymore, it would want to help joy.
Yeah.
And just let chips happen where they fall.
Mm. Okay. This is another kind of part of the conversation where how much detail it wants to show, I don't know. So you might just ask it if it has some specifics around what that would look like. And if not, that's fine.
I think worry's trying to say that instead of worry standing in front of me kind of blocking the way, it would repurpose into what it has been doing a little bit for the past few years, which is worry for about others. But kind of in a dad type way, you want the imagery that's popping up is like I'm with a kid and it's doing what it wants to do, but there's that slight worry of not extreme worry, but that reduced sense of worry, like there's always a chance something could happen, so we're just monitoring the situation and being there if needed.
Yeah. So it wants to be mindfully protective, but not obstructive, sounds like.
Yes. I would definitely say protective. I'm trying to remember if it was last time or not, but it also felt protective about that part that looked like my heart and it being hurt as well.
Yeah, well, just keep trying to show it appreciation for that. I mean, it's a big job and it's a very, very important job to that dad protector energy is pretty crucial. And it is hard to know when you're in the way, right? And when you're doing it right.
Yeah. In that sense, it feels like it wants to be the not, I don't know a better way to say it, that like the right hand man. When first it was in front of me, then it came over to my left when it felt like it was okay to move aside, but it shifted around to the right side and wants to help.
More proactive.
Yes.
So the left side was out of the way. The right side is on your side. Is that right?
Yeah, that would be accurate.
Yeah. You might try asking it how old it thinks you are. It's always a fun question.
Okay. response I got back was similar to last time. Old. There's no number indicated. The answer was old, older than I think, and that it and I are both scared that, or worried. We're both worried that I'm going older than I. Gosh, I can't remember how it came across. Basically, I'm going to run out of time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I'm about to turn 40, but it always has been a worry of mine that both that I'm not going to get things done before I pass away, and also the worry that I don't know what's going to happen once I do pass away.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle. So
yeah, that was a pretty intense feeling. But I thank you for being honest.
Nice. Yeah, so just let it know your real age, and it might help to just put that in context for it a little bit. That you plan on being around for at least another 40, right?
Oh gosh, I hope so.
The last question I have is to ask it, what does it need from you in the future?
Worry wants me to be there, and it wants bravery to be there too.
So what does it mean by wanting you to be there? To be where?
Present. That there have been times where I've been so removed from the situation that worry is doing all the work. It's
It has to overwork because it doesn't see you at the helm.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It wants to be more of a partner than what we've been experiencing.
Okay. Well, are there any ways that you can think to do that? And again, this might be a conversation you have with this part. This might be you might be asking it. You might be suggesting, or maybe you're done and you've established contact, and now you just want to check in every day with this part for a while. Whatever feels right for you. Sometimes I like to try to squeeze out some specifics from my parts because I know I might forget about them, later.
I think that the general sense left is is don't forget me.
Mm. Makes sense.
I asked if it's okay if I check in on worry, and again, ghost trends loosen like humanoid, but I felt it squeezed my hand, my right hand.
Awesome. Yeah, and a check-in can just be, at least in my experience, it can just be a hello, for a minute. But it's good to do. It's good to try to do it every day. That's just kind of general advice for check-ins.
Okay.
You and your parts might have a better idea. It's fine.
No, that sounds kind of good, actually. It's taking a moment, and the parts that I've met so far kind of coming together in a circle to just, I'm not sure if it'd be to converse internally or just we're all there. Just to remember we're all there.
Yeah. I like that image, being in a circle. Be a circle around a campfire, or a circle around a dinner table, or a board game, or just wherever. And just you can go around the room and say, how you doing, what can I do for you, or you can kind of let them, whoever wants to go first can go first. And if you practice that daily, it really can be efficient. And it's kind of like a family coming around a dinner table, where if it's the first time they've ever done that, it might be kind of strange, but over time it's nice.
It does sound nice.
Great. Well, are there any other parts that have any comments or concerns about the work that you did today?
When worry started talking to me about it needs me to be present, but it also needs bravery to be present.
Mm-hmm.
Bravery started showing up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was kind of buried inside of me. The what I was able to see trying to come out from my chest was a knight in golden armor. The most prominent part was the helmet and the shield, but it didn't stick around.
Well, yeah, maybe bravery has to be called to action, huh?
With me, yeah.
Well, I just mean in general, I think that's might be how that part works for most people, is if it doesn't know it's needed, if it doesn't know that parts are asking for it and are supporting it, or cheering it on, then it can get covered up, be dormant.
Okay. That makes sense. I think that my worry is in not a great better place now, but it is in a more comfortable space now, and I don't see any other parts coming forward. I am checking back in with frustration.
Awesome, you're doing it all right. And saying thanks to him.
Yeah, definitely thanks, and I'm not getting the feeling that frustration has anything to say about the situation with me and worry. It just kind of hovers back towards me. Yeah, that's what happens.
Okay. Well, again, I don't have any other questions. Sounds like you're in a better place with worry, and I like your approach of, the goal isn't to eradicate it, and we found what it's good for, and we're able to frame it and let it see that kind of positive usefulness. Protective dad energy.
I could always do better at directing dad energy.
Yeah. Yep. But it's a good thing it's there, huh?
Thank you for talking with me about it. I do feel less worried and stressed right now.
Thank you. I had fun.
I did too. A lot like last time, it's very, very interesting experience, and I agree with what you were saying before, that as awareness of IFS spreads, I think people will be interested and want to get involved.
Yeah. It's really powerful. And you look at like yourself, you were unaware of it, and then we had one conversation. I introduced it to you. Then we had one conversation, and now this is our second conversation, and it's kind of like you're able to do all of this. I mean, I'll say you make it look easy, and I know it's not easy necessarily. It's not, but the way that you're able to do it is great, and it's like that's it's sufficient. It's enough to what you already know to get to know all of your parts, really, and your ability to just face them and ask them how they're doing and take their name, take their number. It's kind of the whole process.
It does make sense. I do feel like if I still need some guidance, some more practice, but I do feel like the basics of it are starting to set in.
Yeah, and it is generally, in my experience at least, it's still something you want to do with someone else, because when you're in that space, it's hard for you to really, you're trying to listen to this part, but you're also trying to kind of guide yourself, and it's good to have somebody to work with.
That makes sense.
And I think the only other, when I say like, hey, you got it, we haven't really done much like exile work necessarily. I think that you'd be able to go there. But in this conversation, for example, when worry is when worry says you could get hurt, and it's like, and I could hear it in your voice where it's like, it shows you that image, it shows you that hurt. And it's like, whoa, yeah, and so going deeper into that might be more like exile work, where it's like, okay, what was hurt? Who was hurt? How was I hurt? And how can I meet that part, the part that got hurt, and let it know that it's on my team too, and unburden it.
Okay, that does sound interesting, and if we could go into that in the future, that would be much appreciated.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Cool.
I'd love to.
Was there anything else you wanted to share?
No, just my appreciation for you sharing and letting me in. It's been fun. It's been nice.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me, and I feel better about facing the rest of my weekend.
Awesome. I hope you have a good one. Yeah, it's nice talking with you, and I hope we talk soon.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Zikri, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.